Please take it down. So find the value of P so that the body will not impend. Okay. So the body will not impend down the plane. Okay. Will not impend down the plane. Also find the value of P for the body to impend up the plane. They're asking you both the conditions for that. Okay. So to understand these concepts, we should try to know this is an inclined problem where the body is placed in an inclined way. So to understand the inclined problems, we need to understand few points here. Okay. So what are the concepts required to understand these things? So we shall try to know it. So these are 3 points which you have to uh, understand. So what are the points? In inclined planes, it is always convenient, okay, if you resolve the forces along or parallel, okay, to the inclined plane. You need to resolve the forces along parallel to the inclined plane. That is will be equals to sigma h is equals to 0, and perpendicular to the inclined plane will be your summation of vertical forces equals to 0. Now, let us see like the second point. If two lines making an angle alpha between them, see, if two lines are making an angle alpha between the plane, then their perpendicular intersect. Okay. Now, for example, if you are drawing here, the perpendicular intersects. For this, the perpendicular intersect is this. For this line, the perpendicular intersect is this. You can draw a line here like this. Okay. So the perpendicular intersect makes the same angle alpha. Here also the angle will be of alpha. Okay, these two were the lines which had an angle alpha between them. So the perpendicular intersect, that is these two lines, will also make an angle alpha between them. Okay, as shown in the figure. So you need to understand this. Now coming to the third point. If a plane makes an angle alpha with horizontal, see, here the plane which is making an angle alpha with the horizontal, then the perpendicular to the plane, so whatever perpendicular you draw perpendicular to the plane will make same angle alpha with vertical. Okay, here also it makes the same angle alpha. Okay, this is inclined plane and this is vertical plane. Okay, what does the third point says? If a plane makes angle alpha with horizontal, then the perpendicular to the plane will make same angle alpha with the vertical as shown in the sketch. So with these 3 points, we shall now move to the problem which was asked here. I hope you have copied the question. What is it asking? Find the value of P so that the body will not impend. You just scratch this impend down the plane. Also find the value of P for the body to impend up the plane. Okay, so they're asking if the body has to impend down, how much is the force required, and if the body has to impend up, how much is the force required. Okay, so for both the conditions we are supposed to calculate the forces required. Okay, so let's begin with the problem. I hope you have copied the question. Okay, now as per the question statement, we shall draw a sketch. What they are asking? So there is a body, okay, and the load acting on it is 100 newtons, and here it is making 30 degrees. Okay, so they're asking you the value of P. Fine. So let us solve the first case. Case 1. What is the case 1? You can see, will not impend down the plane. Okay, we shall solve this first condition, motion impending down the plane. To understand this, first we have to draw free body diagram of the above figure showing all the data. Okay, so the angle made is 30 degrees. This is the body. So this will be the plane of axis. This is the plane of axis, but the load which is acting is in this direction. So this is 100 newtons. Okay, this is 100 newtons. So what all data has been given? 1000 is this, and the angle here 30 degree. So as per the point number 3 we have just studied, this will also make 30 degrees. Because of the weight, you will have a reaction developed along this direction R1. And how is the motion impending? The motion impending down the plane. It means the motion trend. This will be the motion trend. The body along which the displacement of the body is expected. Okay, so this will be the reaction. If the, as I said, the friction will be developed in the opposite direction of the motion trend always. Okay, so this is equals to your mu r1. So in question they have given mu has 0.3, that is the coefficient of friction. So f is equals to, mu is equals to f by r1. F is equals to mu r1. Since mu is equals to 0.3, your f is equals to 0.3 r1. Okay, yes. After this, our regular steps will start. Resolving forces perpendicular to the plane, that is resolving forces perpendicular to plane. As I said, point number 1, if you are resolving forces perpendicular to the plane, it will be sigma v is equals to 0. It means the same. Okay, now what are all the vertical forces we have with us? We have this r1, and this is an inclined plane. You might see it as a straight force, but you see the axis along which it is lying. Okay, the axis should be parallel to along this plane. Okay, so this is an inclined force to this point. So when we resolve this, you must be very careful. Okay, the angle is made with the vertical axis. Fine, this 100 is making an angle of 30 degree with the vertical axis. You just make it as this in this direction, and see, this is making an angle with the vertical axis. So you just draw a reference for you. 100 cos 30 and 100 sin 30. Okay, when the angle is made with the vertical axis, the vertical component will be cos 30 and horizontal component will be sin 30. Okay, so now let us write down the forces. So you have r1 here, and see, it is, this r1 is directed up, hence it is positive, and this 100 will be directed towards down, hence it will be negative. So 100, what will be the vertical component? It will be cos 30 is equals to 0. There are no other vertical forces. Okay, so now r1 is equals to 86.6 newtons. This is our first value. Fine. So now next, resolving forces. Resolving forces, what? Parallel to plane. Parallel to plane, that is sigma h is equals to 0. Okay, sigma h is equals to 0. What are all the forces you have in a horizontal direction? You have one force P here. Okay, so write down P plus mu r1 and the horizontal component of this, it will be acting left side, hence minus 100 sin 30 is equals to 0. So P plus 0.3 r1 minus, this will be 50, like, because sin 30 is sine 30 is 0.5, hence it will be 50 is equals to 0. And you have value of what? R1 0.3, 86.6 minus 50 is equals to 0. Hence your P happens to be finally, once you calculate it, 24.2 newtons. So this was regarding motion impending down the plane. Now what else they have asked? They have asked you motion impending up the plane. Okay. Okay. Second case is motion impending up the plane. So this word is important. So if the motion is impending up the plane, let us draw a FBD for even this. Okay. So this is inclined plane and this is the body. So this is the axis. And there is some force which is impeding it up the plane. And see, motion is impending up the plane, so the motion trend will be towards up. So if the motion trend is upwards, you can expect the friction to be downwards. So this will be F2 and this will be R2. Okay, now mu is equals to F2 by R2 and mu is 0.3 F2 by R2. So your F2 is equals to 0.3 R2. Okay. Next, we should resolve the forces as it is. Okay. Okay. So now you should resolve the forces. Resolving forces vertically, okay, or perpendicular to the plane. You can name both. So if you want to resolve the forces vertically, now what are vertical forces you have? You have this force which has been resolved. Okay. So now R2 minus 100 cos 30. Okay, the vertical component of this will be cos 30 is equals to 0. So R2 is equals to, it's again 86.6 newtons. So now next, sigma h is equals to 0. What do you have? P minus mu. Okay, so this is mu R2, fine. And since it is directed towards left, and what all forces you have, even that 100 with you, so that is acting towards left, hence this is also minus sine 30 is equals to 0. So P minus 0.3, which what is R2? 86.6 newtons minus 50 is equals to 0.